have function notation, which is what's read as f of x. So it's this f with the parentheses. It's the same thing really as y. So if I say the function y equals 2x plus 1, this is really the same thing as f of x equals 2x plus 1. But the difference is f of x can only be used if you have a function. So for example, the equation of a circle isn't going to use f of x. It's going to use y. But the equation of a line, since a line will always pass the vertical line test, is a function, you can use f of x instead of y. So they're basically interchangeable, but f of x only works when you're dealing with a function. So f of x is read as f of x. It's not read as f times x. It does not mean multiplication. F is the name of the function. So you're going to see a lot in this class. You're going to see c of x. You're going to see p of x. You're going to see r of x because this is business calculus. So you're going to see the cost function, profit function, revenue function. So those are all just names. C, R, and P just stand for those different words. X is the input. So that's what you're going to input into the function. What you get out is the output. So this is like the y value. So if we look at these examples here, it's asking us to evaluate some of these inputs. So basically f of -4 means I'm going to input, let me just retry this because my mouse keeps moving on me here. Input -4 and find output. That's what it's saying. So put -4 into the equation and tell me what the output is. That's what that is saying. That's a shortcut for that. So f of -4 equals, so what I like to do is just copy the function down, and wherever I see an x, that's going to be my input, I put parentheses. So it's going to be x squared minus x plus 3. And then I go ahead and now I'm going to input my -4. So -4, -4. And then the rest of this is just doing the math. So -4 squared gives you 16, plus 4 plus 3 is going to give you 23. So it's just evaluating it. If you look at the next one, now you have a 2y. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. So f of 2y just means when I go to write this, again, my input and input, so it's going to be x squared minus x plus 3. Well, now I'm going to replace it with my input. So 2y goes into the parentheses, and then we have to evaluate this. So 2y squared is really going to be 2 squared, so 4y squared gives you y squared, minus 2y plus 3. I don't have any like terms, so that's really as far as I can go with it. So I'm just going to leave it like that. And then the last thing is looking at inputs from a graph. So again, this all means the same thing. So we have two examples here. We're going to use the graph to do this. So f of 2 is what we're going to find. So what that means is 2 is the input, or the x value. You want to find the output, or the y value associated with it. That's all it means. So this function right here, this is considered f of x, what's graphed. So this is the function. So we go to the input of 2, go up to the y value. Well, the y value is 5, so this equals 5. Then we do the same thing for the next one. So the next one's f of 6. So our input, go over to 6 for an x value. What's the y value? The y value is 0. So that's our answer. And then the last thing is finding the domain and range. So the domain of this is going to be look from left to right. When you see arrows, think about this as it keeps getting wider. So the arrows mean it's getting wider and wider negatively and positively. So that means negative infinity to positive infinity. The range keeps getting smaller down below. So when we go bottom to top here along the y-axis, It's going to keep going down, so it's going to be negative infinity, but then I go up and it stops right here at 5. So that means it's going to stop at 5 and include 5, so I'm using the hard bracket around it. So that's it for this first section here, just looking at the basics for functions, evaluating them, the vocab, and then the next section we're going to look at a specific type of function called piecewise functions. So that'll be coming up next.